So I think the first thing was that that's a real Goldilocks scenario that we had yesterday. You mentioned it before, retail sales are better. Message, a very positive message about the consumer by Walmart, and initial jobless claim lower. So, of course, the soft landing is the scenario, is our scenario at 55%. And even with yesterday's US data, this percentage might go up by 60%. But, this is what we have to notice here, and nobody talks about it. If you look at the consumer in the US, they are kind of healthy because 1/3 of the population owns a stock portfolio worth over $500,000, and 40% of them owns a home worth about $500,000. So we are in a situation in the US where the debt to equity ratio hasn't been this low since the 70s. So we are not in a scenario actually where we can bet on like a hard landing or a recession, a near-term recession. So I think globally, this is a very important message, and globally, we have to expect like a dovish message from the Fed at Jackson Hole, but only a 25 basis cut in September.
John, I think it's absolutely fascinating that you make the link between the retail sales number and recession fears in the United States. They are absolutely not complementary at this point, and that's something that investors have been picking up on. But from an investment and allocation perspective, how are you thinking about actively participating in these markets? Do you want to be adding to risk in this environment, given the turnaround that we've seen?
No, because we know it's a bumpy road. We know that the rest of the year will be very volatile. So this is why when we look at our portfolio, on one side, we're kind of defensive, putting pharma in our portfolio. But on the other side, we like everything that is related with artificial intelligence. And we saw that each time those stocks in the US, for example, and even in Europe, such as ASML, lose a bit of ground, they recover immediately. And the third thing we are also focusing is, of course, trying to play lower interest rate. And when you play lower interest rate, one of the sector you could play is, of course, utilities. And I know it has been a very rough situation for utilities those last years, but it might be a good end of the year for the utility stocks, especially if Kamala Harris will be the next president. Sorry.